Okay, the big piece of news here, we'll check the Nvidia and AMD charts right after this, but I definitely want to start with this one here. Peter Schiff in the Kobesi letter warned of a federal shakedown over Nvidia and AMD's 15% chip revenue deal with the Trump administration. There are a link to a number of other tweets here in this story, so go ahead and check out the story if you want to go through some of the different threads here. Okay, let's talk about this. Nvidia and AMD, two of the world's leading chip makers, have reportedly agreed to pay a 15% of their revenues from chip sales in China to the U.S. government as part of a deal to secure export license. This deal, which was a condition for the companies to sell their advanced AI chips, the H20 for Nvidia and the MI308 for AMD in China, has sparked controversy, or controversy, as they say across the pond, and draws significant criticism from financial commentators. Schiff, not surprisingly, voiced strong opposition to the deal, labeling it as unconstitutional. Following the publication of the news over the weekend, Schiff took to X, formerly Twitter, and argued that the payments to the U.S. government represent, quote, a federal shakedown, end quote, specifically criticizing the arrangement where companies pay based on revenue, not profit. The Kobesi letter took to X, highlighting the significant shift that the deal represents. The commentator warned that this marks a new era in trade negotiations where the Trump administration now negotiates on a company-by-company basis for trade deals. Quote, most people don't even realize how massive this announcement truly is, end quote. This covers 15% of revenue from China, not profit, both for Nvidia and AMD. The trade war just entered a new era. Oh my God, hug your loved ones, folks. We're in huge trouble. The deal comes as the Trump administration has relaxed earlier export bans on Nvidia's H20 chips to China, which has been imposed due to national security concerns. Despite these concerns, Nvidia defended the arrangement, stating that it follows the rules set by the U.S. government for participation in worldwide markets. Now, really quick, let's go back to Pro and let's actually take a look at two of these charts, which are being affected by this right away. We'll start here with Nvidia. Nvidia, it looks like it's pared back some of its gains. Okay, so first things first here, Nvidia actually looks very much like the SPY chart, at least recently here. It does look like it's trying to take out the new highs that were set the same day here, Thursday, July 31st, the last day of July. If we look inside here, this is how the market reacted, right? As soon as the pre-market opened here, Nvidia actually sold off. But for the rest of the morning here, it's actually been bid back to about even. We're down 0.3% here, down only 50 cents. This is setting up a possible red-green move here. So we'll see if that ends up taking place. Quick look at AMD's chart, I beg your pardon, shows almost the same thing. Same type of reaction here, an immediate move down on the opening of the pre-market. But as investors digest this news, it continued to climb back up. If we go back to the daily chart, here's what we look like on AMD. Almost said AMC there, but AMD. One thing that you might note right off the bat here is we have a little bit of a trend line. That actually represents a key level. Also worth noting, we are 3 points or just about 4 points above the 20-day moving average. I think as long as we want to keep the short-term trend intact here, we probably want that 20-day moving average to stay intact. But nonetheless, this is going to be a trend line that we're going to look for here. Let me go back to the actual story here. Oh, no, excuse me. This was the one that we just finished. There's another one for this. Nvidia's H20 chips under fire in China over security fears. So interesting. We'll draw another hypothetical here for what's going on. The H20 artificial intelligence chips are facing mounting security concerns in China, with state media and regulators raising alarms about potential backdoor risks, while the U.S. government secures revenue sharing deals for the chip market exports license. So, okay, a couple of things here. So number one, there was obviously a huge worry about there being backdoor in a lot of the Chinese technology that gets used here in America. We've actually seen it in a number of applications. Perhaps the scariest one that doesn't get talked about enough are some of the big industrial-sized transformers that are used to power our power grid, which all are made in China and have backdoors. That's been covered pretty extensively by some of the security experts that appear on things like the Sean Ryan Show and things of that nature. Not really talked a lot about in the mainstream media. The interesting thing here is now China appears to be accusing the US of putting backdoor in their chips. So the first thing that I would ask you is, what if this is like a 4D chess move where they're like, oh, well, the CCP can spy on Americans? Well, we'll try and do the same thing. You can have these chips. Nvidia will pay us a little bit, but maybe there's a backdoor in there. Let me know if you guys think that's possible. Nvidia's H20 chips have come under fire in China, with the state media and the Cyberspace Administration of China raising alarms about a potential security risk, including the possibility of backdoor features that could bypass authentication and allow remote access. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? On Sunday, an article by Yuan Tantian, if I pronounced that correctly, a social media account linked to the state broadcaster CCTV, alleged that the Nvidia H20 chips are not only environmentally unfriendly. Wait, they're saying that chips are environmentally unfriendly while they're starting new coal-fired power plants at a rate greater than anywhere else in the world? Cool story, bro. Cool story. But they're also potentially unsafe for Chinese consumers. In the article, Yuan Wan criticized the chip, saying that, quote, when a type of chip is neither environmentally friendly nor advanced nor safe, as consumers, we certainly have the option to not buy it, end quote. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The article followed earlier criticism by the People's Daily, which called on Nvidia to provide, quote, convincing security proofs, end quote, to alleviate concerns over the safety of these chips. Nvidia has vehemently denied these allegations, stating that its products contain no backdoors and that are built to comply with U.S. regulations. A company spokesperson reiterated that the chips are designed to meet export control laws and that the company has taken steps to ensure security in its products. Nvidia designed the H20 chip specifically for the Chinese market after the U.S. imposed export restrictions on a more advanced AI chips in 2023. However, a reversal of the original ban, the Trump administration allowed Nvidia to resume the sales of H20 chips to China in July 2025, provided the company adhere to certain conditions. These conditions reportedly included Nvidia agreeing to pay 15% of its revenues from chip sales in China to the U.S. government in exchange for the license. Despite the U.S. policy reversal, Nvidia faces increased competition from domestic Chinese chip makers like Huawei Technology, Cambricon, and Hygon. Huawei is the one that we have heard here for years in terms of them having a potential backdoor or some means of spying on Americans. Analysts predict Nvidia shares of China's AI chip market will decline in 2025 as local companies aggressively expand. So there you go. I definitely couldn't do anything but chuckle when China is saying that they are worried about environmental stuff. I mean, what a load of hogwash that is. But this other aspect here about the potential backdoor, how fitting would that be if the United States brokered some deal where they could then have a backdoor into chips being sold to China? Now, I don't know if that's the case. Frankly, I don't really care. But that's what's going on out there. And I think that should make this interesting. I think that should make it interesting. We'll see.